What's up, YouTube? This is Bar911970, and as always, I thank you guys for watching my video. Alright guys, let's talk about the physical silver. This is going to be for the people who are stacking physical gold and silver for pretty much the same reasons that I am, or when they hear why I'm stacking physical gold and silver, they might see that it resonates with them, and they think that is a good idea as well. Now, one of the main reasons that I am stacking physical gold and silver is for protection. Now, when you think of protection, you think of, like, for example, insurance. When you have insurance for, let's just say, a car, you don't sit there every single day and say, boy, I'm spending all of this money on this car insurance. I can't wait until I get into an accident. So this way, I can use that coverage in case I get sued, or in case I get hospital bills, or in case I need to repair my car. So I'm really hoping I can get into a car accident because I've spent all of this money insuring myself to be protected. You don't do that, and it doesn't make sense. So you don't want to spend your whole life saying, boy, I'm wasting all of this money on insurance, and I have not yet to get into a car accident. You'll be very happy if that doesn't happen. So that's one of the reasons why I am stacking physical gold and silver. And I don't care about the paper price based on dollars, because I am purchasing physical gold and silver for the fact that the Federal Reserve and the government are not all of a sudden going to snap their fingers and wake up one day and say, boy, we've been wrong this whole time. We're going to now be honest and fiscally responsible, and we're going to go back on a gold standard. We're going to limit how much money we print. We're going to make sure we take care of everybody and not just the corporations. They're not about to do that. So if you see all of the money that they're printing and all of the digital numbers they are giving to corporations by the millions per month, they're blowing into a balloon nonstop and expecting it to never explode. So for me, I feel that physical gold and silver, in my opinion, is protection for if and when the day comes that fiat currencies no longer retain their value. Now, does that guarantee it's going to happen? Well, nothing in life is guaranteed except for death and taxes. So I can't sit here and say with 100% certainty that the world is going to come to an end or there's going to be a collapse of the economy. I can't say these things. But if you have insurance, you're glad if you have it, that if you've had to use it. But if you don't use it, you're fine with that, and you can live with the fact that you were prepared. So let's keep it in perspective. And this is one of the things I need people to understand about physical gold and silver. When the price is dropping, like you've seen recently, it has to do with a stronger dollar, which is an illusion, but it's affecting the paper price. Now, if we ever get to see a day in the next year, the next 2 years, the next 5 years, or even the next 10 years, where we see $500, $600, $700 an ounce silver and $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 an ounce gold, well, guess what? That means pretty much that the dollar is either on its way out or it's done. The economy collapses, and a lot of people put themselves in a world of hurt. Because as we've seen with all different types of tragedies throughout our history and throughout the world, the average person out there has about 2 weeks worth of food, maybe a month's worth of food tops, doesn't prepare for anything, and even something as simple as a storm that lasts about a week, where people couldn't get gas, people are ready to fight and injure each other to be able to get what they can get. So what's happening is the average person isn't prepared. So if we see a day of $500, $600 silver and $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 gold, we're going to have some very troubled times. So you know what? I really don't care if that ever happens. I really don't want it to happen. And I know there are people out there that really do want that to happen. But, like they say, be careful what you wish for, you might get it. Excuse me. And even if we're prepared, there are going to be millions of people throughout the world who are going to be gunning for everything that you've spent your life saving because they hadn't. So there's going to be a lot of destruction, a lot of death, a lot of chaos. So if it never happens, I'll be very happy to know that I had insurance to protect myself and didn't need it. So that's how I view physical gold and silver. And I'm not speaking from a millionaire's perspective. I don't have millions of dollars to just throw away. So when I invest in physical gold and silver, I'm using it as insurance, just like I'm using insurance for my car. So if I spend my entire life without getting into a car accident and never needing that insurance, well, then I didn't really waste the money and I'm not really upset and angry. I'm glad that I wasn't in the hospital basically potentially dying or knowing I injured some other person or damaged somebody else's car and I happen to be covered. I'm not going to jump up and down for joy for that. So it's the same thing with me, in my opinion, with physical gold and silver. Because as it's staying low, that's showing that at least for the time being, our economy is still on life support. I'm not going to say stable because we're definitely not stable. And if you think our governments are all of a sudden going to become fiscally responsible and decide to do the right thing, well, you know what? Whatever you're drinking, please pass some my way because I would love to have that cloud in my head to basically protect me from the real world. So I understand there are people out there who, for whatever reason, for whatever agenda, don't want you to like physical gold and silver. And they're entitled to that opinion, even if they have to go about it in a non-professional, non-adult way. But here's the thing. Either they don't understand what physical gold and silver is really all about, or they just like to cause trouble. And I'm not just talking about my end. I'm talking about several people who talk about physical gold and silver here on YouTube. There are plenty of people besides myself that talk about it. I'm not afraid to talk about it. And I understand that there are people who are going to take things the wrong way. I can't control those people, and I really don't care to try anymore. But people have to understand. With me, when it comes to physical gold and silver, I'm not worried about the current price because it's nothing more than the paper price. It's the manipulation that they're doing by pumping paper gold and silver into the market, which makes the price of it, because of supply and demand, go down. But luckily for us smart investors, it also affects the physical price. So I'm not going to sit here and be one of those people that says, oh, well, it's only the paper price, because the physical price is being affected by the paper price lowering. But that's where we as smart investors who are looking to protect their future can buy the things that we need to protect ourselves for the future at a discounted price. Because let me ask you something, to anybody out there, whether you like me or not, this shouldn't be some personal vendetta against me. It should be all watching each other's backs instead of all the divide and conquer. If there was a stock market crash, if there was a devaluation of the dollar, if there was hyperinflation or even deflation, what would you rather have? Stocks, bonds, fiat currencies, or physical gold and silver, which has stood the test of time? To me, it's a no-brainer, but I'm not here to convince you or anybody else what to do with your own life. I'm here because there are people who are interested in what I have to say. So you may not like what's going on with physical gold and silver right now, and I can understand that, but you have to think long term. I mean, look at the prices of gold and silver 10 years ago when gold was under $1,000 an ounce, under $800 an ounce, and silver was under $20 an ounce. You had 12 consecutive years of gold going up. There are going to be corrections, and if you think short term, you are always going to be panicking and second guessing. And this is why they try and keep things short term to either get quick rewards to mislead you or scare you into thinking things are crashing. Because you know how the media the past couple of months have been praising the Dow Jones and how it's hitting record highs? Well, what they didn't tell you is back in 2008 we had a record high before that collapse. It was around 14,000 and then it plummeted. And it took all of these years to get back to the 14,000 and just a little bit beyond. But they don't talk about that. They only want you to think short term. And they're doing the same thing with things like gold and silver. Like they're hammering gold saying, look how much it's dropped in the past year. Well, look how much it's gained in the past decade. Do people forget that gold just roughly about a decade ago, maybe about 12 or 13 years ago, that gold was $300 an ounce? If you had then $300 an ounce gold, and somebody told you a decade later your gold would be worth $1,000 more than what you paid for it an ounce, you don't think you'd take that? But people think short term too much, and they get scared, and they base it on emotion. And I'll tell you, the majority of those people that probably get very upset about the specific time short period of gold and silver are the people investing in the paper market. Because if you have physical gold and silver, you don't lose it if you don't sell it. And I'm not worried about the short-term corrections. I'm worried about the long-term problems and the fact that none of the governments in the world have any fiscal responsibility. And that's why when they give this illusion of this rising dollar, this strengthening dollar, it's not nothing compared to what's really going on in the world. And that is all the other countries out there like China, Japan, Germany, all these other places are printing more of their own money to devalue their currency, so it makes the dollar look stronger. Because the whole world knows that the dollar is the world currency. If the dollar goes, they all go. So this is, think about it like the Titanic is the United States of America, and you have a whole bunch of little boats all around following the lead. And every single boat is sinking. They're all not going to sink at the same time, but they're all sinking. And if you don't want to be on a life raft, which is physical gold and silver, then take your chances with other investments and see what happens if there is a collapse. But let's keep it in proper perspective, guys. For me, physical gold and silver protects my wealth. So instead of going out drinking and buying outdated equipment that is basically useless or out of date within 6 months, I mean, just imagine if you bought a cell phone, a laptop, a video game, a HD DVD player 5 years ago, a digital camera 5 years ago, all these things, they'd all be useless at this point. People would be making fun of you. Look at women, what they do with clothing. If you're not wearing what's in style, what's trending, you're wasting your money on garbage. It's your choice. It's your money. I do this because I look at the past, I look at the present, and I see the potential of the future. And the future tells me that the governments throughout the world are not going to wake up and become fiscally responsible. They're not going to stop their money printing until the game is over. These are greedy people. And if you want to believe that these professionals out there that wear the suit and ties and say all the fancy right things and tell you what you want to hear because it makes you emotionally feel better, well, by all means, that's the risk you are willing to take for you and your family. I am not going to listen to people who constantly lie. So this is why I collect gold and silver. This is why I will continue to stack. And the lower the price gets, the more I can get at a cheaper price. So it doesn't hurt me at all. And I will see the same people that were attacking me and others 5 years from now, wishing, if they didn't get silver and gold now, wishing they got it at the prices, even at 50. Because there will come a day. I'm not worried. How about you? Anyway, thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend, and keep stacking. Peace. And don't forget to keep stacking.